Now here is the coding challenge. Write a program that prints the sum of three hard-coded integer values. Next, modify the program to get the three numbers from the user and print the resulting sum. Then again make changes to the program so that it prints the sum of three floating point numbers. Now open up your CodeBlocks IDE, click File, then click New. Again click File, double click C Source, click Next, Next, and specify file name with full path. The file name is sum and we are going to save it in the examples folder in our E drive. Next click Finish. Okay. We will start off with hash include stdio.h. Okay, hash include is the preprocessor that is used to include the contents of the header file stdio.h. Next write int main void, okay, and followed by a pair of braces. Then we will write return 0. Now these braces are the delimiters for the function main, and inside this these delimiters we will define variables. Okay, so let me define a variable num1 and assign it a hard-coded value of 20. Next we will define another variable num2 and we can assign it a hard-coded value of 40. Okay. Next we will define another variable num3 and assign it a hard-coded value of 60 and define another variable sum that will contain the resulting sum. As you can see, we have used 4 different lines to define 4 different variables. A better approach would be to define and initialize these variables on a single line. So we can simply use commas to separate the variables. So we can simply comment out this one, and this one. Okay. Now we will write int num1 equals 20, comma, num2 equals 40, num3 equals 60 and sum. Okay, we can simply delete these commented lines. Okay, and next we will write sum equals num1 plus num2 plus num3. Is that clear? Now the sum variable will contain the sum of num1 plus num2 and num3, and we can print it using a printf statement. So we can write printf sum equals %d, okay, comma, sum. In this printf statement, as you can see, sum equals %d in double quotes is the format string. This sum equals will be printed as it is in the output. Okay, and this %d will be replaced by the value of the variable sum. Okay, let us now build and run this program to see the program output. Now as you can see, the program prints sum equals 120, which is the sum of num1, num2 and num3. Is that clear? Now as you can see, this program printed the sum of 3 hard-coded values. In other words, we wrote these values into our program code, the values 20, 40 and 60. Okay, So instead of using hard-coded values, we can now modify this program to get the input from the user. Okay, so we can simply remove equals 20 equals 40, okay, and equals 60. Now using a printf statement, we will prompt the user to enter the value of the variable. So we will write printf and then we will write enter the value of first number, okay, and write a semicolon at the end of this statement, and inside printf we can write /n at the start, which is the new line character, okay, to move to the next line. Okay, then we can use the scanf statement, and in the scanf statement we will write the format specifier %d, because we are going to enter the integer type variable, okay, and then we will pass the address of the variable num1 to the scanf function. So this is the first number. So whatever value the user types for the first number will be placed in this variable num1, okay. Similarly, we can write another printf statement. Sorry, we wrote the wrong spellings for scanf. We will write scanf, okay. Now again we can write another printf statement, and we will write /n enter the value of second number, okay, and then we will write the scanf statement, and inside scanf we will write %d, okay, then write comma and pass the address of the variable num2, which is the second number. So whatever value the user types for the second number will be placed in the variable num2, okay. So ampersand basically means that we are passing the address of the variable, okay. So ampersand num1 means we are passing the address of the variable num1 to the scanf function. Similarly, ampersand num2 means that we are passing the address of the variable num2 to the scanf function. Now we will write the third printf statement, and again we can write enter the value of third number, okay, and in the scanf function again we will write the %d format specifier and followed by comma, and then we will write ampersand, okay, num3. So this ampersand is the address operator, which is also read as address of operator, okay. Now this statement sum equals num1 plus num2 plus num3 stays the same as before, and same goes for this statement, okay. Let us now build and run this program to see the program output. Now the program prompts the user to enter the value of first number and we can enter 20. Similarly, the program prompts the user to enter the value of the second number. We can enter 30 and we can enter the value 45 for the third number. Okay. As you can see, there is no space between our prompt and the number typed. Okay, so we can adjust that space in the printf statements. Okay, let me now press enter. The program prints sum equals 95. So as you can see, we did not leave a space after the prompt enter the value of first number. Okay, so we can leave a space here, we can leave a space here as well and here as well. Okay, now let's build and run this program once again. Now as you can see, the output now shows a space after the prompt enter the value of first number. Now we can enter 20. Next we can enter some other value 45, and for the third number we can enter 78. Now as you can see, this is much clearer than before. Okay, let's now type enter and the program prints sum equals 143. Is that clear? As you can see, in this program we have written 3 printf statements and 3 scanf statements for a total of 6 statements, which I believe is quite cumbersome. So instead of writing 6 statements, we can simply write one printf statement to prompt the user and one scanf statement to enter the values. Okay, so we can comment out these lines. Okay, and we can change this printf statement to something like this: enter the values of the 3 numbers. Okay, similarly in the scanf statement, instead of just passing the address of num1, we can pass the address of num2 and num3 as well. So we will write comma after ampersand num1 and we will write ampersand num2. Okay, then comma, and we will pass the address of num3 to the scanf function. Okay, and similarly in the format string we can write %d followed by space, then we will write %d, again space, and then %d. Sorry, I forgot the space here, so we can add a space in the printf statement. Okay, let us now build and run this program to see the program output. Now as you can see, the program prompts the user to enter the values of the 3 numbers. Let's say the user types 25, 35 and 65. So the spaces typed by the user between the input values are matched with the spaces between the format specifiers in the format string in the scanf function. Okay. Now if we press enter, the program prints sum equals 125. So after typing the first input value, which in this case is the first number, which is 25, if we type a space, the scanf expects the second number. Similarly, after typing the second input value, which in this case is the second number 35, if we type a space, the scanf expects the third input value or the third number. If we use some other character such as a comma or an underscore to separate the input values, this wouldn't match the spaces between the format specifiers in the format string in the scanf function. It is not must to separate the input values with spaces. It is okay to use other whitespace characters such as the new line or the tab as a delimiter in the scanf function. In this sample run of the program, we have separated the input values with spaces. If we use tabs or new lines between the input values, this would still match the spaces between the format specifiers in the format string in the scanf function. Let us now build and run this program again, and this time we will be using the new line whitespace character, and for new line we can use the enter key on our keyboard. The program prompts the user to enter the values of the three numbers. Let's say the user types 35 as the first number, then presses enter on the keyboard. The user can then enter the second number. Again, he can press enter to enter the new line and type the third input value 67, and then he can press enter. The program prints sum equals 147. So in this case, the new line characters are matched with the spaces in the scanf function. Okay. Let us now consider another sample run of this program, and this time around we will be using tabs to separate the input values. The program prompts the user to enter the values of the three numbers. We can enter the first number, then press tab, then type the second number. Okay. Again we will press tab and then type the third number. Okay. And if you press enter, the program gives the result sum equals 201. So as you can see, this time we used tabs instead of spaces, and this still matches the spaces between the format specifiers in the format string in the scanf function. Okay. So you can use any of the whitespace characters, that is spaces, tabs and new lines as delimiters in the scanf function. Now this program computes the sum of three integer type values. Now we want to modify this program so that it prints the sum of three floating point numbers. All we need to do is to simply change into float. Okay. So we can change the integer data type to float. Okay. Then in the scanf function, we can replace %d with %f. Okay. So the format specifier for the floating point values is %f. Similarly, in this printf statement, we can replace %d with %.2f. Okay. And this will print the resulting sum. .2 indicates that we want to print just 2 digits following the decimal point. Now let's build and run this program again, and this time we will type 3 floating point numbers. Now the program prompts the user to enter the three numbers. So we can type the first number as 32.45. Then we can enter a white space character and then type the second number 45.67 and then type a space and then enter the third number. Now if you press enter, the program prints sum equals 157.10. Okay. Is that clear?